Hey, my name is Matt and I'm a game developer. So this is going to be something a little bit different from what I usually make. I've been seeing a lot of weird takes on social media and YouTube for the past couple of years, maybe even longer than that. And I thought it might be interesting to kind of get my thoughts out and talk about some of this stuff by reacting to it. So this might be a new series, I'll see what it turns into. But today, we're going to look at this tweet from someone called Rhino or Reno. I've seen this person's comments a lot. They're kind of like typical, not rage bait, but like controversial, divisive takes to try and get all sides interested in some sort of conversation. And there's probably a longer discussion to be had about that sort of content and what it implies and how it maybe erodes the public discussion a bit. But what he said was, 5 years into this generation and nothing looks even remotely close to how gorgeous, how fun and fluid this is on any console. And then he gave a little rocket ship emoji like, yeah, that's a hot take. We were really sold lies through cross-gens, sequels with no innovation, and risk-averse market research-based slop. And a sad little face. So this is the video that was posted with that. It's really gorgeous, fluid, and fun. And she's climbing, looking to get a new handhold. And don't get me wrong, this is incredible technical work, and it looks really cool. But it's not indicative of any sort of real game that's coming out. Like, it's a demo for what could be a game, what developers could do to make their games. And this comes from an Unreal Engine showcase, so this is what that video actually is.
All of this adds up to a more immersive experience. We've made some great additions to our audio system as well. Convolution reverb allows us to measure reverberation characteristics of real spaces, like actual caves that we sampled, and reproduce them in virtual spaces.
So I want to be clear here, this is an impressive demo, and it looks great in motion. But a lot of the techniques and technologies shown here, besides Nanite and Lumen, which are two Unreal Engine 5 specific technologies, they're kind of just standard, like they're usual things that game developers do in games, like even now, today, still. This all here, this is maybe some motion matching animation technology. We're looking at, a run cycle. There's a lot of geometry. That's pretty impressive. That's the Nanite powering that. Let's see, cloth simulation for secondary motion. There's particle systems. We've got, other stylized animated effects. There's the lighting. That's something to talk about. Lumen is a ray-traced global illumination solution, so it's definitely neat to see how light bounces off of like these cavern floors and onto the walls of the cave. Let's see, that was a toggle to jump. The context menu, and then she goes into this animation. Jumping, there's a little particle effect. She just barely makes it. Grabbing onto the ledge, there's more particles, more little geometry things falling off as she climbs up. And then one thing is that as she gets to the top of the ledge, her feet match to the angle of the floor, and that's a runtime inverse kinematic solution. So yeah, it looks neat. Once she ends this animation, we're back to playing, and it's seamless. That's exactly what games like Uncharted and Last of Us have been doing for, 10 years. So I don't know what's new about that specifically. The motion matching is pretty cool. It's a more recent technology, but we've still been doing it in games like For Honor, Assassin's Creed, all of the Ubisoft games. Just there's some really clever stuff that's been going on for many years, and this is all based off that. It's not showing some like new thing that this console generation is pioneering in. But really the new stuff, besides the audio that they were talking about there, is the visuals. That's kind of what this tech demo is trying to demonstrate. Like, we have Nanite, we have Lumen, all the ray tracing effects, and virtualized geometry. So that stuff is definitely next gen. It's exclusive to this generation, I might say. But there are good examples of games that take advantage of that technology. So we have games like Alan Wake 2, which take advantage of that like ray traced global illumination, probably even ray traced reflections, I would say. It gives that like next gen look, and I'm pretty sure it looks as good as what is in that demo, but I might be might be wrong. It's also subjective as well, you know, like I don't want to say that the take is bad just because they like the look of one thing and not of this game, but there are tons of games that release every week that look incredible, that take advantage of new technologies and new techniques. Jedi Survivor is another one. I don't know if this one uses ray trace. There's the Torgal's butt scratch. I don't know if it uses like ray tracing specifically. I forget because it's been a while, but they're definitely using a lot of neat global illumination techniques. And yeah, I mean, just look at that. The whole underlighting of the spaceship as it comes down. Reflections here are very nice. And hey, this game's got particle effects too. It's got animated things. It's got post-processing. Oh, the other random example games. Yeah, we've got flamethrowers in this game. I mean, this is all stuff from this generation. Indiana Jones, another great example. Just look at the amount of like fidelity in all of these environments. And maybe it's not quite like nanite level, like everything is literally a polygon, but we're getting pretty close. I mean, you can't argue that like the visuals are any worse than what's in that demo, especially when you take into account like the benefits of art direction. All of these like PBR materials on his jacket, like the metal surfaces, that these are stuff that are like not even shown in this kind of demo, and yet they're pushing the envelope with what they're able to achieve visually in a game like this. Hellblade 2, another good example. Now this one I believe actually is using nanite and lumen. Just absolutely unreal, no pun intended, visuals there. All of these particle effects. Can't quite tell about reflections, but definitely the global illumination is looking great. There's volumetric fog. I can tell there's a ton of volumetric fog used in here. Really high detailed environments, a lot of nanite. That's not even covering games like Horizon Forbidden West, Spider-Man 2, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, Hogwarts Legacy, Baldur's Gate 3. I mean, those are all games from this generation that show off pretty good tech. So I don't know what this is all about. Like the fluidity of it? I don't know what's fluid. Like it's her climbing. These are all canned animations. Like you're not controlling anything besides whether the animation starts or stops. So I doubt that this is going to feel fluid, except for the fact that like the animations match really well to each other. And all this, when she's doing that little like pat of the hands, she's locked in here. Like I bet you can't move or control while she's doing that. You're stuck until this moment and then you can walk again. Fluidity is a weird word. Now, as for the sequels with no innovation and market research slop, that is a different kind of discussion. And I don't necessarily agree with that take, but I can understand seeing, you know, repetitive gameplay or repeated ideas, especially within the same series, and thinking that maybe games are not taking as many risks as they should. And that's a fair take. But sequels still have a ton of art and care and love put into them. I guess you could say that he was talking about sequels with no innovation, but then what is that really? Like, what major sequel is not innovating enough? Like, what are the details? Like, this is just like a very basic, simplistic take to like get people talking about this topic. Use Jedi Survivor, a sequel. there's a lot of art here. There's a lot of love and care. There's innovation. We have Alan Wake 2. Is there really no innovation in this at all? Like visually or fluidity or fun-wise or whatever? And I think it's interesting to look at some of this person's other tweets. Death Stranding 2 on the beach deserves to win Game of the Year more than any other game. So I guess sequels are okay. And also games from this generation are not as bad as it's sounding from this person. 2025 had some groundbreaking classics restored with modern visuals. There's that rocket ship again, because we're taking off into the hot take. And here's all the games that released in 2025, which, yeah, some of these are like remastered versions. They're all remastered versions of older games, but I mean, Metal Gear Solid, Oblivion, it's built on modern tech. In fact, I think Metal Gear Solid is built on the same tech that this person was clamoring for in this tweet. And if you go through their other tweets, it's just a lot of the same back and forth. Like one day it's games are failing this generation and they're not as good as they used to be, which is a whole other conversation. Then the next day it's like, wow, this game really showed everyone who's boss, and I can't believe no other games are doing X, Y, and Z, or like even takes that are like 2025 was such a good year for gaming, and we're like it gives a weird impression when you just flip-flop like that. But the divisive takes, the ones that try and, you know, say something negative about the games industry, those are the ones that get 7.9 thousand likes. And you can have opinions, like I'm not saying you can't, but it's a little bit dishonest to, you know, one day say gaming is ruined, the industry is dying, and then also say that like, oh, Death Stranding is an amazing game, I loved it, it should be Game of the Year. A game that came out this year. It kind of pollutes the discussion a little bit, and it makes like the nuance fall away, and that's not really good for the community. This isn't unique just to Twitter. It's also, if you look at YouTube and you type in console generation not as good, there's a wealth of videos that are basically saying the same thing. I guess this is a new topic. Sometimes there's like trends and people are trying to hop onto some sort of hate train or something. The most disappointing console generation. Just endless complaints and trying to capitalize on negativity. And I don't like that. I hope that we can look into more positive ways of viewing games, and I hope education about how games work and what they do and what the people that make them try to accomplish, that'll help a lot with how games are perceived and how we can appreciate the art form. And that's not to say that there aren't issues with the industry. There absolutely is, but I don't think you can boil it down to games are doing worse because people are not as creative as they used to be, or that they're just always chasing some sort of profit and that there's no art in the medium anymore. It's just not true. There's so much passion and love that like goes into this field, and people are extremely dedicated. They sacrifice so much of their time to make this stuff fun and entertaining for people that play games. And I hope we can kind of recognize that and bring some more nuance back to the discussion. So anyways, that was all for me for now. Probably have more to say on this and on other topics, so I hope you'll stay tuned. Feel free to subscribe if you like this sort of content, and I'll catch you next time. Thanks for playing.